I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, December the 14th. And we're getting into the middle of the week here, right at the tail end of the year and really the last full week of business. And we've kind of got a mixed bag here. We started out the week with the board continuing down from being down all of last week pretty much. And then come up there on Tuesday and gave everybody some false hope kind of, and now back down on Wednesday, and we've kind of got a mixed bag. Your cash markets are not for sure how to react to all this. But you look at the board on Wednesday, February live cattle down 77 cents to end the day at 118.37. December spot live cattle down 50 cents at 115.65. January feeder cattle down $1.45 at 145.65. We've had no indication really what the fat cattle market's going to be on Wednesday. No trade in the direct trade areas. We did see some bids surface. They've gone up from 114 to 115, but the 115 bid was only in the places that have been running $1 to $1.50 premium to what the rest of the 5 areas has been. But in that Colorado, western Nebraska, Wyoming type area there, they could get a 115 bid there. And you can bet that could come up a little bit unless the board tanks again here late in the week. But look at a place where they did have some fat cattle sales in Tama, Iowa. Their fat cattle auction. You look at some of these groups of fat cattle that come through there, both steers and heifers selling from 120 to 123.35. Box beef cutout values are really dropping off here and just continuing lower every day. We've pretty much lost the holiday boost. It's too late now to catch any of that demand, but it's headed south here to finish up the year. And your choice cutouts at 202.48, down $1.58. Your selects, although that choice select spread is tightening a little bit, your selects were down 90 cents at 185.02 with a choice select spread of just short of $17.50. But you look at your feeder cattle markets, your real-time index on Beef Market Central, based on an 800-pound steer, late on Wednesday, set at 150.46, basically steady but down 4 cents. So we did have some decent cash sales of yearling feeders that helped keep that thing together middle of the week. Look at some big sales on Wednesday. Of course, OKC West, the biggest in El Reno, Oklahoma, 11,000 head for the 2-day sale, with around 6,000 head of calves on Tuesday, finishing up with close to 5,000 head of feeders on Wednesday. Your feeder cattle market there at OKC West, $3 to $5 lower. The steer calves, you remember on Tuesday, selling $4 to $8 higher on your steer calves weighing over 5 and catching up from the peewees that saw the big jump last week. Heifer calves steadied to $2 higher. But on Wednesday, some pretty decent sales of yearling steers there. Where I say yearlings, they were probably long-weaned steer calves, but feeding like yearlings. Not a whole lot of yearlings available right now. If they are, they're backgrounded kind and weighing pretty heavy. But you look at that report on OKC West and El Reno there on the popular weight 7-weight group. 1,741 head of 7-weight steers there at El Reno, averaged 759 at 146.42. And even though Market News called those feeders $3 to $5 lower, the weighted average on those steers in the 7 weights was only down $2.20 from the previous week, so hasn't fallen out of bed by any means. And I said a mixed bag. You look at some other places like Dodge City, Kansas, their feeders were steady to $2 higher for the most part, with spots as much as $5 higher on some heavyweight feeder heifers. But there's not as many big strings of light calves available as there was just a few weeks ago. And so we're seeing that we're getting late enough in the year where there's not a lot of those bigger consignments of lightweight calves. Of course, there's always some stragglers selling, and they're of plainer type quality, and they're never going to bring what the big groups of all one raising the calves are going to bring. You look at the slaughter for this week so far, 355,000, down just 3,000 from last week and 11,000 more than the same week a year ago. You look at a big sale that's had some good prices there, middle of the week in St. Joe, Missouri, Northwest Missouri, the last old river market that's still functioning there, but they don't always do things in the old type of way. They still get as high a price for cattle there as they do anywhere in the country. 3,100 head on Wednesday. Steer calves under 600 pounds were $2 to $5 higher. Bigger calves steady to $4 lower, but there's been a lot of those selling in that Midwest part of the country, and a lot of them yet to go. Yearlings haven't had a good test of those for a couple of weeks, but had a higher undertone on those. You look at some yearlings that sold at St. Joe at 10 o'clock Wednesday morning. Awful good sale of big yearling steers here, and they said they had just a perfect weigh-in and flesh condition, which is what really sells this time of year when they're hard to find. But 70 head of 849 pound yearling steers in St. Joe bring $156.75. Definitely nothing to sneeze at. The only big string of calves that I saw that really sold well in the Midwest there at Bassett, Nebraska, at Bassett Livestock, 4 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon, at 82 head of steer calves, weighed 595 pounds at $175. That's your feeder flash for Thursday.